Alright, let the official uwoos commence.
All right, for Connery and Mitty, as you guys make your way up to the north of, sort of northeast, to make your way towards the docks, you guys will notice, especially as you get further north, moving in the opposite direction of your friends, that the townsfolk become increasingly panicked until eventually it becomes a situation where most of the other people you are seeing are running away from the direction you are heading in.
Connery's gonna reach out and grab someone running past them and ask him what's happening. What's going on?
As you reach out and grab a random middle-aged man, he'll stop. I know where you're going with this.
Don't fight him, Mitty.
He'll stop, and when he sees who has grabbed him, he will throw up his hands and say, "No, please, you can have money, or just don't hurt me, please."
Hurt you? Just tell me what's going on.
You don't need to. The gods, you can take them if you want, but I'm just a no one. Please don't rend me.
Okay. You're clearly useless. I'm just gonna let him go and start walking away again.
Yeah, the second you let him go, he shuffles backwards on his butt and turns in full sprints away from you guys.
That's concerning.
Wonder what that was about.
Like it's about Zoans. They've been having trouble with them, haven't they?
That's what it sounds like.
Great. Gonna make our job even harder.
Yeah, just another day.
Yeah, as you two walk, you are given a pretty wide berth by others that seem to be wanting to avoid the company of large and scary animal people at the moment. You begin to get to the point in the city where the slow-moving mire-like water begins to be concentrated and picked up by different irrigation equipment and man-made levees and things like that to direct and speed up the water's course into a number of smaller but much more fast-moving streams that eventually will tumble over the edge of the gravel wash to become the numerous waterfalls that go over the edge. This is the region you were told that you could find this warehouse that Mish was being kept at. But before you really have much of an opportunity to look around, you'll be approached this time by a indeterminately looking young woman, probably waist length blonde hair, very generic looking, for lack of a better term. But what catches your attention is that she just walks straight at you rather than fleeing like everyone else has been doing all evening.
Mitty's going to pull or stop Connery for a minute.
What?
While she approaches. Everyone else is running away. She's approaching us. Purposefully.
Quick, act busy. Act natural.
Just prepare yourself. This could get.
Ugly.
Yes, that.
I feel like the phrase act natural has really comical insinuations for Zoans.
More like act feral.
Shut up!
Connery
Yeah.
just starts howling. Mitty climbs up a tree.
Grizzly bears actually climb trees.
We've established he's a drop bear.
Oh, that's true.
This is fair, yeah. As she approaches you, she'll come to your come up into your personal space and stop with her arms folded underneath her bust and say, "Mitty, it's about time you came."
Ah,
Know her?
I'm forgetting her name. Tabitha.
Vita.
Tabitha?
Yes, for the moment. Where are the others? There should be more of you.
Well, about that. Let's just say that they're currently on the run.
On the lamb.
The local authority decided to send some sort of undying mini skirt at us, and it didn't go the best.
You were attacked by someone in a miniskirt?
We were by Dragoon.
That's what they were called.
Specifically, what was it? The leader of the Dragoons?
Yeah, what was their name again?
I don't know.
Anyways, some important dragoon lady. But kind of left us a little
Divided.
worse for wear, divided, yeah.
Yeah, she'll have looking at over both of you as you say this. She'll say, "Yeah, you both look like you've had a rough night."
That's certainly a understatement.
But this is okay. We can work with this. Most of the townspeople will be avoiding you because you're Zoans. You said your friends went to the south gate.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, maybe we can try and catch back up with them if we go ahead now.
You need to find Mish.
Yeah, what he
Yeah,
said.
about that.
You see her, like, she'd been picking up some steam, starting to get a little animated, and you say that, and just, it's like the wind goes out from her sails if she just sort of pauses, like, mouth open. I think it would be more pressing to get you two somewhere safe first.
Can't leave here without Mish.
I don't think there's much of an option for that right now, I'm afraid.
Did they move him? Or move her?
What do you know?
Well, I've been here all evening waiting for you guys to come help break her out, and there's no real point breaking her out anymore.
Why not?
Look, are we going to do this here?
Just use plain language and tell us what you're trying to tell us.
She'll kind of like rub a hand down her face, and it's weird because Mitty, she looks totally different than the Tabitha you knew. She's speaking like her, but might as well be a different person. kind of will just like rub some tension out of her temples and say, I didn't want to be the one to have to tell you this, but Mish can't be saved anymore, Mitty.
What do you mean?
I tried to get her out, and she's not with us anymore, and I can tell you more of why, but I think we should get out of here first.
After hearing that, Mitty is going to no think, only act, and lift Tabitha by the collar and bring her in real close and say, "Who did that?"
Not very happy, and he's growling very angrily right now.
I don't, Mitty, I don't know who it is. It's some Lupo that the Secret Keeper's been keeping around.
Where?
She'll like just kind of like duck her head towards the north gate and say, I think he's the one scaring all the townspeople right now.
He will put down Tabitha, kind of brush her off, and apologize. Lost composure there for a moment. Connery,
Mitty.
do me a favor and get Tabitha to the group.
Don't even think about it.
But he will kind of turn and glare at Connery at this.
He is not intimidated. He's glaring right back. If what she said is true, we've lost Mish already. We can't lose you too. And neither of us are in any condition to be fighting something like that. Especially not alone.
You guys will see Tabitha like kind of hug herself with both her arms and say, whoever this freak is, maybe he's fucking huge, and he's got like these magic symbols on his arms, and I would run if I were you.
Meanwhile, Mitty is like, "Stop! I can only get so erect."
Magic symbols. What do they look like?
Like swirly tattoos, like, I don't know, some, don't get mad, like she'll say, like kind of rolling her eyes, something tribal or so-any.
It's important. Try to remember as best as you can. What did it look like?
She'll do her best to like rack her mind and describe to you sort of what I had narrated before of, it's like swirling geometric patterns of reds and oranges that go up from his wrists to cover his whole arms, but more than that hasn't been seen yet because the figure's always been cloaked when he's been in the scenes thus far.
Gotcha. Is based on that description, does it sound like anything Mitty would have seen before?
Yeah, I don't think I need to have any roles for this. People have been out of character saying it since the character showed up. It's
Yeah.
not hard to put two and two together of definitely seems like something summerish.
No, I said it in character. Like, would she have heard Mish calling him that?
You mean like right before you were eviscerated?
No, even before, when she was like taken to that hold. Because like she was there at like that tavern area. And Mish did ask, I forgot her name, if he was a child of summer, but she didn't get an answer.
Oh, you're right. When you were first abducted, like in the inn, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, with that in mind, that's true. I don't think she would have heard you say "child of summer," but she will say to you, Mitty, whoever this guy is, he's after you. I think he's been trying to find some sort of winter person.
The
Maybe
case.
we'll. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Gonna say if that's the case, then there's no doubt he'll be coming after you anyway. So you'll eventually get a chance to fight him. But we can't do this here and now.
Blood has been spilt. Honor demands that his blood be spilt in kind.
And his blood will be spilt, but not now.
Maybe we'll just kind of like tense for a moment. Fuck! Right.
You'll just see Tabitha's eyes are kind of like downcast, looking at your feet and still holding herself, and say, and tried to help her, but
Worry about that now.
This
First
isn't
priority
your,
needs to be getting out of here.
this isn't your fault, Tabitha. Mish will be avenged.
that, yeah, let's get you two out of here. Probably not good to be in the city for the time being.
Mitty will kind of nod at that.
Okay, so you guys, with Tabitha in tow, start to head south.
Yeah.
As you leave, you are now joining the current of the crowd that is trying to flee from the northern districts of the of Twain. Your backdrop, your soundtrack for your own escape from the city, consists of the intermittent firing of the fireworks as warning signals, which this close you begin to be able to determine the pattern to it, not even knowing the code, because there is a firework that goes off at a proximate location before moments later you hear the sounds of destruction behind you as whatever beast it is rampaging in the northern gate takes out that person before moving to the next guard encampment.
Have this mental image in my head of Mitty in all his deep, growly, bearish voice glory running towards the southern gate screaming, "The Zoans are coming!"
But it is much later, uh, just before sort of the pre-dawn light here. Eventually, both halves of your group will find each other from where the elves picked an encampment at the bottom of the ruin run where they felt safe, and eventually the Zoans will come close enough for you guys to find them. You guys have been, apart from I think a couple of you had a brief attempt at sleep before the door was blown in by Sarah's group. For most of you, you have been running in many cases since this time the previous morning. So there is definitely a level of exhaustion setting in here as you guys finally come together again. The backdrop of the city of Twain sort of still shuddering from a night of unexpected carnage and seemingly directionless violence as well. Some of you carry with you the news that one of your companions has been deprived of life, but at length you guys find yourselves together here at sort of what I just will assume is like a sort of campfire scenario. Finale and his family huddled close, and the Zoans escorting Tabitha.
Well, it's good to see you two safe and sound, and Tabitha as well. I assume you look different.
She'll nod and sit down by the fire and right, what did I look like when I was with you guys before?
That is a weird question to ask out loud.
I suppose,
Changed since
but
then.
oh, sorry, go ahead.
Well, how many times have you changed since then? If you don't remember.
A lot. I try and have a different face every time I meet a new group of people, she'll say, and you see her like going through her mental gears before eventually she will cast disguise self again, which for her is done by pulling off, like it looks like she goes to pull off her face, but it just removes a mask, like one of those drama masks, featureless. She pulls it off, shakes it a few times, and seems to like move her fingers over it to sort of magically adjust it before putting it back on, and she looks like maybe not exactly like the original Tabitha, but closer to it. Is
Well,
this
that's a neat
better?
trick. It's close. I suppose now that we know that you're capable of that, it's not that important that you look like her.
I don't mean to make anyone uncomfortable. It is good that I was able to meet you all at length, even if it got a bit messy there. She says, eyes still on the cart with Sarah strapped to it.
Yes, allow us to introduce you to our new friend, the captain of the dragoons.
Sarah raises her one good arm in like a little half wave and says, "Yo."
Still not quite used to this level of blasé, but She seems okay-ish, all things considered. Definitely had things done to her head as well as her body, though.
Well, and this is Tabitha. I don't pretend to care too much about what happened in this city, so I'm just gonna leave that.
I suppose the important question is if there's anything to be done for Mish at all at this point.
Or too late.
There's like a long moment of Vinali having processed that basically immediately, but like his mind is trying to think of any other way to interpret that. And then he just kind of settles back into his resting position, but doesn't say anything.
Mitty is going to abruptly lunge towards Sarah and lift her off the cart that she's on.
Okay, as you sort of lift her up, she lets out a slightly startled noise and will say, "Oh, yeah, welcome back, Mr. Bearman."
What do you know of the Lupo?
The Lupo. That's the wolf people?
Yes.
I didn't get to see him, but there's a Lupo a couple days ago that broke into the city and killed a bunch of us guards.
Yes, we did hear about that, didn't we? Went missing?
And what happened to the Lupo after it slayed your men?
It killed all the Sky Patrol in the area, moved deeper into the city like it was going to keep going, and then we didn't find it. It went missing.
Mitty will, shake her aggressively. You don't just lose a Lupo! Someone in your city hit him. And whoever that is responsible for my friend's death. Now,
I think we know exactly who that is.
yes, clearly it's the Secret Keepers. But to what extent are you involved, little lady?
Yeah, as that connection is made out loud, you'll see Sarah kind of, her own eyes widen a little bit. And as you keep shaking and having her held up like that, she'll just stay limp for a few seconds, wait for you to finish raging, and she'll speak up at you, Vinali, and say, "You're saying, Yora hid the Lupo?"
That's what makes the most obvious sense at the moment. He's the one responsible for killing our friend, and she's the one who kidnapped our friend. There's only one reason why he would be where she is, if he was working with the Secret Keeper.
Yeah, Tabitha will pipe up and say, he'd been assigned to guard her, but, well, it was Mish. She'll say, kind of just looking down at her own lap.
Damn it.
Her mouth and get her killed Mulder.
Sarah will kind of like digest that for a second, and her head will loll like to the side and up as she just sort of stares. If she was on her feet, she'd be looking up, but at the way you're holding her, she's more like looking upside down.
You know, if you were concerned about the fates of your fellow gods before hearing those fireworks going off, this again all goes back to your boss and his, and Vanelli kind of does air quotes, boss.
Baron Hirsch was a pig. I didn't like him, but he didn't murder people because he could.
Who he was doesn't matter. Who he is now is what matters.
If you're asking me who I'd rather you kill at this point, I think it's fair to say that the Secret Keeper's a bigger bitch, but I don't know what good that does you, what my opinion is.
Well, the question at this point is, would you work with us or against us?
How do I answer this question? I think she would reiterate with a degree of exasperation that I don't work for anybody. I do what I'm told.
So in theory, you could work for us if you were to follow our orders? He's kind of asking that, not really positing it as a theory. He's really curious if that's how it works or not.
You picked up a weapon that was cast against you. Picked it up off the literal floor. If you want to throw it at someone else, you can do that.
Well, I suppose that's good to know, though I do wish, if you'll forgive the verbiage here, beat it into your skull that you're not a weapon, you're a person.
Yeah, I'm assuming you're still holding her ragdoll style.
Yeah.
She will do her best to, with one arm chained behind her back, shrug while upside down.
Continue to lie to yourself and believe that you're nothing more than a title bestowed upon you. The reality is you are a fully sentient and sapient individual, able to make their own decisions and have their own feelings. You're not a tool to be pointed at, told to do as told. I understand that thought process that ails you. as I once fell for that same trapping.
You'll get something of a sigh out of her, as she is completely 100% limp in your arms, and will just say, "If I call myself a person, will you put me down?"
That depends. Do
Whether
you
you
actually
believe
want
it
to
or
be?
not, if you
Yeah.
keep repeating it, it'll eventually make sense to you.
Mitty will turn her right and set her down.
Yeah, she'll kind of do her best to adjust her sitting posture, given that she is still heavily chained, and will, not looking at anybody, kind of just casting her eyes, I guess, at the fire, will say, "Yeah, you're probably right about things, but it's a lot easier to be something than someone, you know?"
It is. It is 100% easier to just let go and forget everything. But that's not what life is about.
"Are you guys gonna fuck up the secret keeper like you fucked up me?" she says, kind of like wiggling her arm.
Probably.
Much worse if we have anything to say about it.
She won't be coming back the way you do.
I wish we could. And he kind of will gesture to the device on her and say, equip her with one of these just so we could kill her over and over again.
Yeah, but that would make her too much trouble to deal with.
Yes, she and the Lupo that she harbored have forfeited their right to life.
Okay, Sarah will nod and say, "Okay. Yeah, I can shoot her a few times. That wouldn't make me feel too bad."
And who knows, maybe killing her will get you your old pig of a boss back rather than this current. I don't even know what else to call him. Something much worse than that, though.
She'll nod and sort of lay back onto the cart, and looking up at the sky, will say, "Oh, I guess you're breaking into old irons tomorrow."
That would be the plan.
"You're gonna need an airship."
Vinali is going to move around behind her and undo the chains and say, well, we know somebody who can move around the city freely.
Yeah, as you undo the chains, they weirdly elastic back into what they had been when initially handed to you, and you're reminded that this is a weird fucking artifact. She'll kind of use her regenerated hand now to rub the uh, bruised wrist of her hand that had not been cut off. Yeah, okay. I have to steal an airship.
Easy enough.
What was that?
Nothing.
Oh, okay.
If this goes well, you'll be a hero for freeing the trade baron. Unfortunately, though, make no mistake about it, if it goes poorly, you'll be on the run with the rest of us if you value your life.
It would not be fair to call it a full smile, but you see a slight upturn of her lips besides, like, either way, as she says, "If I did, would I be here?"
Well, if you didn't, you would have started attacking us the moment I undid your chain.
That's probably a fair point. She'll get up from the cart and start to head away from the campfire before seeming to remember something, and she'll circle back around and come next where you're sitting, Cal.
Hello?
You'll watch as she, without a word, just sort of flexes her regrown hand, and the black pistol reappears in it.
Okay. He looks a little uncomfortable.
She'll reach out her free hand to hold on your shoulder and say, 1 second, and places the barrel of the gun against your stomach, and there is a slightly discomforting sensation of something being withdrawn from you as she moves back and stands and leaves you alone again.
Oh my god.
What was
What was
that?
that?
She drew from him.
That shard was still inside you that entire time.
I had to take the bullet out.
I think I'm going to go be sick, excuse me.
Yeah, that would have started to make you very sick if we had gotten to long rests.
Out of character, I feel like based on something that Rin said out loud during the combat, that there's something she can do to people that she's already shot.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
Oh god, don't tell me she can metal bend as long as she gets in.
Oh, I think I know. Yeah, I think you told me what it was. Yeah, it's not fun.
Hey, at least you have a new ally.
Yeah, and
You new
Sarah
allies, technically.
will take off and head back towards the city, and seemingly is going to, at some point, if she doesn't change her mind and do otherwise, steal an airship and bring it to your encampment. But otherwise, you guys, plus Tabitha now, who seems distinctly a little awkward, are for the time being safe, and for the first time in like 26 hours, like, are maybe comfortable enough to sleep.
And we still have to figure out what to do with, pardon the phrasing, I'm a little tired. Figure out what to do with my parents and Fiora, because I don't think we want to drag them into this. But we can figure that out in the morning? Later in the morning? I don't know.
Yeah, your dad will speak up from his position around the fire and say, Well, if you're gonna head back north and go into the city again, or at least Old Irons, maybe we could take Fiora here and head down to one of the train stations further south. Assuming the line's even still running with all the things going on, but here's hoping.
Is that safe? The last train we got on was a trap from the secret keeper.
Oh, good. Do you think she's attacked all the trains?
You put it faster.
Well, we were redirected from one train to the other, weren't we?
Is that accurate, or were we just put on a different track?
I thought we were just put in a different car.
Yeah, the route got changed.
Yeah.
You had been intending to go. Still on the map. You had been intending to go from Defiance, like up to the north and ride, around the shore of the Worm's Ravel. Instead, you wound up going much further south, like towards this direction, which puts you very close to the Wall of Fog.
Which I would guess has something to do with our soon-to-be dead secret keeper.
Yeah, I don't entirely know how the train system works in general, but I feel like it was probably the same train. They just changed where it was going.
The two routes probably have two trains, especially if they're not connected.
But unless you don't think it'd be safe for them to ride a train at all, your parents' current thinking is maybe to take Fiora with them and just get very far away from Twain.
Yes, I would think, as strange as it sounds, given they're not in a much better position than Twain, Defiance might be your best bet for hospitality right now.
Secret keepers can get into Defiance, though.
They can, but they're not really as free to move around as they are in Twain.
Less welcome.
They're free to get into any city, just about, it seems like.
Your parents will exchange looks and say, if you think that would be best, Finale, we had in mind maybe to head towards the Braylands, given I do have some distant relatives there.
That could also work. We were planning on making our way there after this slight detour.
Farther away from Twain than Defiance is.
That's true, and if there is a city that the Secret Keepers would have more difficulty with, it's probably Cinebray.
Probably the safest bet.
Almray will look over at you, Cal, and say, do you know any of the local sins that might be able to give us hospitality?
Yeah, Cal, do you?
Cal? Do you?
I think most of us remember seeing what we saw in that dream, and at the very least, Vinali has kind of an uncomfortable look on his face as he turns to look at Cal.
There are no sins in the Braylands that I would deem safe. No. But you may have different opinions, if that is the route we are to go.
Sorry, I didn't mean to bring up difficult thoughts. We'll say, kind of, adjusting her shawl. I'll try and track down. Maybe I have some family there, but sorry.
You didn't know. It's okay.
Cards on the table, we do plan on, through any means at this point, hopefully above board, but,
Fat chance of that.
through theft if necessary, acquire some soul dolls while we are there.
Or you say this out loud?
Yes.
Can't believe
Because
it
if my
is.
parents are going to go there, they should know that we might get them in trouble.
You just see, like, both of your parents, like, stare at you, like, kind of gobsmacked for a minute. Oh, is that this kind of group is like that, huh?
We owe some people our lives, and they need those in order. Well, they're like elves, but I should say Ava. They're like Ava, but not. They've been living underground for a long time. They seem to be almost a different species, but not quite. But they need those soul dolls, and the Braylons have been apparently very, very reluctant for understandable
Stingy.
reasons.
You'll see, Castor goes, like, straight to Confusion Town, but Omre kind of ponders that for a bit and say, you're saying that some of the Dark Elves are still alive?
Oh, you
Yes.
know of them, yes. They are, in fact, still alive. Very few, apparently, but they are there.
Huh.
That's
We're
where I
actually
got
quite
this.
friends
He's
with
going to
them.
show off the badge.
Yeah, she'll take that and just sort of turn it over and looking at it. I don't know much of this, but wow. As far as I think most of the Braylands know, we didn't think there were any more Dark Elves.
There are a few, and they have survived the times.
Yeah, you'll forgive me saying so, but generally the accepted theory is that their civilization tended to decline with the presence of the Zoan.
The unfortunate truth is their civilization has declined. But what's left has done all they could to continue on.
Well, I'll be, she'll
There's
say.
a weird sort of, given he was like just on the verge of passing out like moments before, there's a weird sort of energy in Venali as he starts like talking about historical stuff and artifacts and things like that. And he's just going to excitedly turn his attention to Cal and say, "Oh, show them your sword. Show my parents your sword. You'll love this. We actually got this from a weird time travel sort of a thing we went through."
He'll, for a brief minute, he'll look a little bit confused and then go, oh, okay, yeah, I can do that. Yeah.
Yeah, so you present the long sword, and there's a somewhat comical moment here where all three Honduses like take the blade and like crowd around it and start discussing the finer points of like how old it is and its make, and like, does it really count as an ancient artifact if it was gotten through time travel?
Yeah, it's technically not old because it didn't age all the way up to where we are now.
But at length, Omri will say, Well, I mean, that's even more reason, perhaps, to go to the Braylands. I think there's some individuals in the historical society that would be very interested in extantivari.
It would be good
What?
if we could reconnect the two civilizations again while we were there.
Sorry, hearing your roommate laugh through the voice changer was just really funny.
Yeah, I know.
And oddly terrifying.
I apologize. What did you say?
I said it would be great to be able to reconnect these two long lost societies together. If the animosity is fallen.
Yes, the Dark Elves seem very untrustworthy of their erstwhile cousins.
Well, I wouldn't entirely blame them. Our history's not exactly the nicest, but gosh, that was millennia ago. I don't think the average Braylander even knows they exist aside from history books.
You underestimate how deep the sins of the father can travel.
Oh, I don't doubt that the rekindlers might have some choice words to say, but for historians like me and my husband, I mean, that's a once in a lifetime opportunity, my bear friend.
This is fair.
Did you know the Arakai have an entire society down there?
Okay, so you probably it'll take you another hour and a half to get to bed.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like all of a sudden, like all the realizations of all the cool shit we've seen are like springing to mind of like, oh yeah, I should mention this. And, oh yeah, that too.
It's
Just gonna like roll.
it's telling how Vanali copes with horrible losses.
Yeah, there's definitely a bury yourself in work mentality too going on.
You're just gonna lie down and just like fucking go to sleep.
Eventually,
so
if
tired.
someone tells him to shut the fuck up, he'll probably go to bed.
Mitty is before Mitty goes to bed, he's going to try and contact Winter.
Okay, so with your like just try and feel her through, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Just if he can, he wants to inform her that of what has transpired with the possibility of a champion of summer looking for him.
Okay, make a straight wisdom check, but I'm going to give you disadvantage on this,
Okay.
which I know is a little rough, but
Oh,
Aw.
oh,
It's heartbreaking.
that is. Can I use a story point to take the first roll?
no, you
Okay.
cannot.
Ripperoo. Oh well.
Yeah, you before you go to bed, you attempt to reach out to Winter, but given the inner turmoil you're currently experiencing, giving the information for the day, and some of your own mixed up inner space, it does not seem to connect.
Okay. Then, with that attempt, he will go to bed.
All right. Did anyone else have anything they wanted to do before they turned in?
Connor's probably already fast asleep.
Gotcha. All right. Well, everyone tucks in for a long rest here on like a campsite you've made off the side of the Ruin Run Road. I didn't enforce it because no one else had really done a whole lot of rolling yet, but you guys would have, those of you that didn't even get a chance to sleep yet, would have gotten a level of exhaustion. But as you long rest, you get rid of that level of exhaustion, so it's a wash anyway.
Yeah.
But recover your health, recover your resources, all of that kind of stuff. You have spell slots again. You have key again.
Yeah,
Question about how hit die. It's half hit die on rest return, right?
Yeah, half your total.
Half my total. Gotcha. Just wanted to be sure because I thought it was something like that.
Yeah, that sounds right. Honestly, it doesn't come up that often, but yeah, I think
That's why I wanted to ask.
I will generally defer to Azur's encyclopedia-like knowledge of the system.
And then
I don't understand it myself. I just retain this shit and like nothing actually important in the real world.
it kind of makes sense because it's like it's almost like a second wind of like reserve energy that you can call upon. It makes a little sense that if you're like, it's like a pseudo exhaustion is how I see it.
Mm-hmm.
It's like an internal backup battery, and once that's depleted, then even the external battery struggles.
It's like having adrenaline, right? It's like shit's going down. You need the extra health. Blah blah blah. Whatever.
Yeah, I'm not gonna say this exactly right because it's been a while since I've looked at it, but I remember checking out the Starfinder system, the like sci-fi version of Pathfinder.
Yeah.
And they have a system where it's like half of your health is a stamina resource and half of it's like actual health, and it's much easier to regen the stamina than HP in 5e, but the health damage is a lot more permanent than it is in 5e. I thought that was interesting.
It reminds me of, I wouldn't be able to pick out any specific video games, but there's like certain video games that have like damage where there's like, your health bar turns a different color and that damage will recover over time, but if it blacks out, then you can't recover it over time. You have to like drink a potion or something.
Oh yeah, I see that.
So it's like
Sometimes
kind of
too.
like Monster Hunter's HP system, or in some fighting systems, some fighting games they do that.
Yeah, the recoverable versus the non-recoverable HP.
Yeah, it sounds like it's a tabletop interpretation of that kind of a damage system.
Yeah, that makes sense. Like for like, I'm not going to say minor injuries, but there are like you can reset a bone, and that's you'll be ship shape after that reset. But like if you fractured it, then
Thank you for this contribution, Juju.
You're welcome.
Yeah, so you guys turn in for a long rest. Elsewhere in the world, the ambitions of the Secret Keeper advance as well. Things are being put into motion. But let's see. If you guys turned in like 6 in the morning, 8 hours of sleep would be like 2 to 3 in the afternoon by the time you guys all wake up.
Yeah, I'm
A long couple
probably one of
days,
the
okay?
last one.
So with the afternoon sun high in the sky, you guys all begin to wake up and recover from your long ordeal. Some of you definitely still sporting some aches and pains and probably lingering chill in your limbs from yesterday's conflicts. But as you guys are picking yourselves up and getting prepared for the adventure for the day, your afternoon breakfast siesta is broken by the sound of propellers as a decently large airship will eventually come to settle in the field beside your camp. In terms of size, I'm thinking like something as long and wide as like those double-decker buses in the UK that's so famous for.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I meant to ask, and this is completely off topic, but something that had occurred to me right as we were talking about falling asleep. But just out of curiosity, any of the when I did have the lantern lit up, any of the merchants that were passed out on the road up, did they look like they might have been passengers on the train?
That's difficult to say because you guys didn't interact a lot with the other passengers on the train.
Yeah, I imagine we probably maybe saw a couple in the dining car. I was just taking a shot in the dark that maybe they were dropped off, trying to think of other reasons for the ash.
That's fair. Let me roll something. Uh, I would say, unfortunately, you didn't recognize any of them specifically, but the thought occurs to you, and it's not like an impossibility.
Okay.
But yeah, an airship of that approximate size, mostly just sort of in shape and design like a very large canoe or like bobsled type thing with propellers at the front and back, and it's not winged, it's just a straight slope. Will just come to rest at the on the field next to you, and pulling up from the driver's seat position, you'll see Sarah just leaning against the wheel and hello.
Finale will yawn and wave, "Good morning."
I'm supposed to be scouting the surrounding area for the Lupo that has once again vanished.
I think we can imagine why he's vanished again. Probably somebody got it back on their leash.
Well, given that we have a good idea of where it'll be, then I take it you all are still game.
I think so, yes. Especially now that we've had a moment to recover and recuperate.
What about the rest of you?
Yep, Bitty's already in the ship.
Okay.
He's on his shoulders.
You're going to ride his shoulders while on an airship.
Yes.
Next level.
He'd just be like that.
You're gonna get hit by a bug and go flying thousands of feet down below.
Don't care. That's how I go out, then that's how it's meant to be.
That's how we lost Mish.
Solidarity.
Alright, well, it sounds like you guys load up on the airship. Forgetting your name now. Sorry. Vanali, you were able to have a little powwow with your parents who are still, they are staying in the camp for the immediate moment. It sounds like they are going to have a bit of a more leisurely morning, but then head down to the Ruin Run train station to hopefully catch the next train to Center Bray, assuming it's running.
They're bringing Fiora with them?
That is their intention, yes.
Okay, just wanted to make sure. As I get on board the airship, I'm going to, forgetting exactly how rough it is, going to try to very coolly pass the gun back off to Sarah, and then realize it weighs 1,000 pounds and like stumble over myself trying to hand it to her.
Alright, she'll actually kind of reach out halfway to take it from you, and it's like the moment the barrel touches her hand, it's like it immediately becomes like not heavy at all for you anymore. As she just one-handed takes it and slings it back across her shoulders.
He's going to like pause and like give her a very intense look and say, "We're trusting you."
She opens her mouth to start to say a fairly easy quip, and probably can imagine something along those what she would have said, but she'll stop and like catch herself and look back over at Mitty. Yeah, okay.
It doesn't come easy for a lot of us, but here we are.
I'll get you to the jail, and well, when you get inside, I don't think there'll be too much ambiguity.
Denali will just kind of nod and head back to take a seat.
Yeah, as you all are taking your seats, you see a with greatly pronounced bedhead, Tabitha, sort of sitting a little crankily in the one of the seats on the airship.
Can you give me a little...
She's human, or at least she looks human.
Got her around, so I couldn't remember.
Mm-hmm.
And she is a warlock, right?
Correct.
Yeah. Preliminarily, I will go ahead and cast Aid at 3rd level on myself. I think who's going to be in the mix of it the most? Keep the healer alive, so myself, selfishly. I think Conry and Cal would be the other two that need it the most.
So how much of a temp hit points is that?
It's the max hit point bump one, so that's 10 hit points for everybody that got hit by it.
See how it is.
So that would make my temporary hit points 56 instead of 46?
Yeah, and you can be healed back up on that too. It doesn't go away once it's depleted.
Wait.
And I still have a potion I am greedily holding on to, so.
You might want to make a note somewhere of what your actual hit point maximum is.
I just type in +10 to keep track of it that way.
Oh yeah, that's good.
Yep. As a reminder, do DM know this is the point in the video game where it would tell you that the area you're heading into is dangerous. So maybe do a quick run through of your inventories and stuff to look through any items you've picked up along the way that you might have forgotten about, potions, consumables, the crackle fungus, things like
Did
that.
we ever get my crackle fungus or potion of fungus back?
You could have taken them from the gate if you so wished.
Yeah, because I want this back. I'm gonna pretend I took them.
Fortunately, wasted my potions.
I'll buy you more when we get a chance.
I mean, you say wasted, but you had no way of knowing whether you were
True.
going to get the fight or not.
True.
Well, if you had gone after Ironclaw, you would have.
Mhm.
I'm just saying, I had that map queued and I was ready to move you guys to it.
I wanted to. I was going to die.
It would not have gone well for you, but I was going to queue it.
You see, I'm not entirely
God
sure
kinda could talk him out of it.
if when Rin said you would have, if he meant got into combat or wasted your health potions, and I think the answer is just yes.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay, so you all, like I said, make sure you have all of your things in order, spells and the like. But at length, the airship will take off. You guys will be able to see from down there on the ground as Omri and Castor, Hondes, and Fiora all kind of stand there and wave goodbye to you guys with shouts of encouragement as Sarah, your dragoon adversary turned temporary friend, it's not entirely clear, pilots the airship up and out of the ruin run and begins to take you northeast as beneath you eventually you'll see the rising cliffs of Twain give way to the emerald green lake of the Ravel, Worm's Ravel beneath you, before eventually the island upon which Old Iron's jail and manufactory makes itself known to you. All you know about the place is it is apparently where Sky Iron is produced, along with many other production. What's the word? Along with a lot of the other material production of Twain. But despite being a manufactory, it is known as a jail. And the reason why is because it is the only place in the known world where a dragon is kept in captivity.
I knew this
Wait,
would come
what
to
is-
slave labor eventually.
Wait, who is known as or who is kept in captivity?
A dragon is.
Oh.
We've never heard of anything like that before. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
As what is publicly known is the manufactory uses the dragon's fire and heat in the manufacturing process. But this is also where some supposed dragon worshipping cultists were found, and the Secret Keeper and the Order of Silence came in to put a stop to that, where they have been, quote unquote, putting a stop to that for weeks now, and no one has been able to get into the manufactory. But the airship flying overhead, you guys brace yourselves for what will probably be what you're expecting a difficult fight as you have come to take names and kick-asses of the Lupo, of the Secret Keeper, the entire Order of Silence, just everybody.
The list of asses that need to be kicked is ever expanding.
Down in the manufactory, at its penultimate level, just above the molten slag pit that is the abode of the dragon, as it swims about in the red-hot liquefied remains of thousands upon thousands of pounds of steel and metal. Within the chamber above, the Order of Silence moves about, preparing for their ritual. The Secret Keeper Yora, smirking to herself, ever so pleased with how her plans have been coming together, as she admires the way that the soul of that interloping girl is hovering there, still bound in the golden chains of her deity. It is a rapturous event, what is to come, and she can't wait to witness it. Behind her, Mish still guards the door, standing, her rent arm unhealed, dangling useless, but her other clutches Charity tight, prepared to slay those who would come to interfere. She senses them drawing nearer and activates her rite of sleep, and mist begins to curl off of her blade. And that is where we will end the session.